out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast.
Hey, good morning.
The games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the ball.
How's everybody doing this morning? Voice is a little better. And I hope everybody survived the weekend as best you can. It's going to carry into this week. It is treacherous out. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. We'd like to hear from you. As well as the professional door BDST text line 540-391-0788. Everybody's doing okay. Now, the reason the voice is still not sounding great today, had to make an executive decision yesterday after the AFC Championship game. And shovel my long driveway because today the temperatures are going to drop. In other words, the temperature started dropping about 2 a.m. and the wind is going to gust. My guy, Kevin Myatt, said about 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts today with the wind chill. And here in Reiner, we ended up with about 3 inches of snow, but we had about 3 inches of sleet on top of it. Very fortunate not to get much freezing rain, which was a blessing. So you had the crust, on top. So you had to say, I don't feel like doing this. Broncos had just lost. Terrible, terrible game. But someone out there yesterday evening took my time and shoveled, so the cold air kind of screwed up my throat a little bit. But I'm not terrible. It just don't sound great. So I hope you're well. And hit me up. There will be some coughing. But we got a great show for you today. Phil Elmassian Todd Grantham, and Jen, the Gamecock Girl. How about that on a Monday? Friday, there will be no show once again. Should be the last one I missed for regular season basketball. At the end of this week is the long dual trip to the Palmetto State, Charleston Southern, and Clinton, South Carolina. So we'll be doing 4 shows this week. But let me know about how you doing this morning. The snow, the weather's treacherous. I went out after I went and got the driveway going. You can't do the very bottom because, when they scrape, they put a bunch of piled up snow and stuff in front of your driveway. But so I went out over it on the Jeep and went out down the road here where I live in Reiner. It's treacherous, man. I don't see how, given the weather conditions, and I really appreciate everybody at VDOT, but I hope they're okay, but I don't see how they're going to get the roads ready for Tuesday. I hope I'm wrong, but the roads are treacherous, so avoid being in. You don't have to go to Radford today, and I hope people are okay. But this weather is horrible. I'll never understand it. Hey, Opal, good morning. How are you? Thank you. Yeah, the voice now is because of last night, because you're out shoveling for a few hours, and you're out in the cold air, and it kind of gets in your lungs a little bit. So that's mainly what this is. Hey, a couple peepettes. Good morning, Tina. But just do me a favor and just ask for your forgiveness early about the throat and the coughing. Good morning, Morris, from the ice-capped Mabry Hill and Meadows of Tan to the sun-kissed beaches in Palm Coast. We invite you to move on down. Yeah, we're live. We are here. We're live. I made a good decision on Friday not to try to do the show. I struggled through the Radford game Friday night. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold, Paul. It's cold. But by the end of the game, my throat was shot. And then Saturday was just pure hell. And it carried into Sunday a little bit. Started to feel better as got closer to the Broncos kickoff. And then at the end of the day, I said, let's go. Let's go do the driveway. Because it's, just me doing it now that the boy's gone. So I think as the day goes on today, I'll be very glad that I did that. Very, very glad. By the way, I got 7 or 8 comments on the text line or DMing me. People really liked my last column in the Patriot. Thank you. It means a lot. It really does. I'm really enjoying writing those for Mike Williams. And the last one I wrote about was Dublin Days, is what I called it. And sometimes you just have things on your mind. You say, you know what? I think I'm going to write about that. And that's what I did. And it was just growing up down Route 11, not in the town of Dublin, but about 3 miles outside of the town. And when my mom and I would go into Dublin, and the highlight of the trip was the old Dublin Pharmacy. So thank you. All right, let's get into the games. Full disclosure, I did not watch a single play of the NFC Championship game. I did go back and watch some condensed highlights this morning, trying to figure out why they didn't measure the 4th down at the end with Cooper Kupp, but hey, it's the NFL. Broncos lost to the Patriots 10-7. And you need to talk about the circumstances without taking credit away from the Patriots. Their defense is really good. the Broncos were playing without Bo Nix, it made a massive difference. But I'm not going to put the loss squarely on Jarrett Stidham. I think Sean Payton deserves a lot of the loss because, it's 7-0, and the forecast was pretty loud that they were going to get hit by a lot of snow, probably in the third quarter, second half. So you're sitting there up 7-0, and you have the ball inside the 20. It was 4th and a long yard, and he decided to not take the points in an AFC Championship game with your backup quarterback. And he decided to go for it. Terrible play action pass to the right. Stidham got pressured. And after that play, all the momentum was gone. Defense was able to get it back a little bit, and then Stidham had that just horrible decision where and Nix would not have made that play where he was flushed out. He tried to do the little double throw. I thought it was a fumble all along. Patriots scooped it up, went in the end zone. I thought it should have been a touchdown. They ruled it a backward pass. Anyway, it didn't matter. The Patriots scored a couple of plays later. But you got to kick the field goal. And this isn't revisionist history. There's one person that I talked to during a Broncos game. I ignore my phone, but I was like, that's going to come back to bite them. How do you not take the points? And they didn't, and they lost by 3. And then the weather was just terrible. It started snowing early in the second half, and it was just neither team could get anything going. Missed field goals. So now the Patriots will play the Seahawks, who held off the Rams 31-27. Sam Darnold, a career day. Boy, Minnesota Vikings fans, you got to just – you talk about front office decisions that had immediate ouchies. About the Vikings deciding to give up on Sam Darnold after what did he win there? 13 games? Something like that? J.J. McCarthy was better. And now Darnold is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL with a team who's likely going to win the Super Bowl. Haven't seen the spread because, like I said, once the Broncos lost after that last Stidham interception, I was done with football for the day. Not going to watch the second game. Seattle 4.5-point favorites. Kind of thought it'd be more. So a rematch. 2 teams have played in the Super Bowl once before. It was the infamous Pete Carroll, Marshawn Lynch horrible goal line decision that cost them a Super Bowl. And I really basically have no interest in the game, so I doubt I watch much, if any of it. Plus, you have arguably the worst halftime guest music choice ever. So give me your thoughts if you were able to watch the championship games yesterday. Good morning, Mr. Lester. How are you doing, Chris? Yeah. That's where we are. Yeah, I think so, Chris. Other than the coughing, and I was explaining, I got most of that back in my lungs because I actually went out and shoveled the driveway last night because the temperatures actually got up to above freezing here in Reiner last night. It's like 33, 34. And I knew trying to do it today as the temperatures are falling in that wind. In the morning, it's going to be negative wind chill. That's why it's going to be very difficult for the roads to get to where they need to be. There you go. 14 wins last year with Darnold. They gave up on him because, they drafted McCarthy, who got hurt. Didn't want their draft pick to backfire. We'll talk to Coach Elmassian about Sean Payton a little bit. He had been beefing up Stidham all week. Stiddy, as he's called. And, early on, he called the game like he had confidence. He hit that long pass to Marvin Mims. Beautiful little play action rollout back of the end zone. Denver took the lead. I'm like, all right. And then he quit calling the game as if he had any confidence in Stidham. It was one of the worst. I think if he's honest, if he can put away his massive ego, it's one of the worst coach games Sean Payton's ever had in a big moment. In the second half, both teams are trying to survive. And if you have 10 points, which Denver should have had at the very least, even after Stidham had gifted the Patriots, the only touchdown they would score was a gift from Jarrett Stidham. And I think the whole complexion of the game changes a little bit, right? Oh, my God. Did they really? Dave Matthews bumper music? What, the whole game? Is that right? I agree, Knicks fan. Guy has paid his dues, man. He's bounced around the league. And he looks terrific back there. And the Seahawks are really good. New coach, revamp things. Terrible uniforms. They need to go back to the throwbacks, but that's okay. And they're going to win their second Super Bowl, I think. Just from one commercial break? Ooh. Well, now I am glad I didn't watch it. He was Tebow. We haven't been really advised on it. So for me, I probably shouldn't. I appreciate you asking. Thank you for doing that. That means a lot. If people want to chat about it, that's your prerogative. But I really can't. Probably should not do that right now. If you understand, and I hope you understand. But I know it's extremely serious. How about that? Paul says, I just think the NFL is rigged. The 4th and 1 call. I mean, you can't get 1 yard on a quarterback push. The things that I was watching the replay today, like I said, the condensed replay, because I wanted to be able to talk about it a little bit. And it was on that last drive Seattle had. And they hit Cup. And it may have been a first down. I'm not saying that it wasn't a first down. That basically ended the game. But why didn't they at least stop it and look at it? It goes back to the play last week that the Broncos benefited from against the Bills. You have the technology. Start to sound like the open to the $6 Million Man show. But they don't even look at it. And the official doesn't know. He's looking at it. He comes running down the line. Oh, bring the chains. And that's a pivotal moment in the game. No one's going to mind if you try to get that right. Right? Yeah, thanks, Tebow. Appreciate you, man. There'll be a time that all that can be discussed. But they didn't review it. I don't know whether he'd been short or not. That's not really the point, but review it. just like in our play last week against the Bills. Review it. Now, does the NFL want Seattle in the Super Bowl over the Los Angeles market? No. No, they don't. They would have loved to have LA in the market or in the Super Bowl, that market. But just review stuff. It's the championship games. People on the text line. You're not serious. You're not going to watch the Super Bowl. Well, watch me. Watch me not watch the Super Bowl. Two teams that don't interest me at all. A halftime guest that has openly said that he hates half the country. NFL promoting that. I think their pregame show is another band who said they hate half the country, Green Day. The NFL just kind of telling you exactly how they feel. No, I can go the whole evening and not watch the Super Bowl. No. Absolutely. I don't know. Do they, Chris? I don't know. Did they put a chip in there? I don't know. Maybe they did. If they did, I missed it. It does seem like, now that you say that, Chris, I've heard something like that, but I don't know. So, yeah, I didn't have any expectation the Broncos would win yesterday without Nix. Patriots are good. And, again, I don't want to take their effort away from their victory. Their defense is really good. And Drake May in year 2 he couldn't throw the ball at all, but he made plays with his feet. So, okay. Well, I'm sure they did, man. I'm sure they did, Chris, then, if you think that. I mean, you're usually right on stuff. I know, Knicks fan, and it's not revisionist history. I was like screaming, take the points before he even snapped the ball. 10-0. You've been 10-0 at that point. And then I bet you if it's 10-0, that play with Stidham doesn't happen like that. I don't think it's on Jarrett Stidham. He hadn't taken a snap in 2 years, And that long ball that he threw to Mims was beautiful. He got into the groove. They just took it away from him with the play calling. And then I thought Sean Payton was awful yesterday. It was awful. Tebow says, I won't be watching either. I got some clothes to wash. Yeah, it does. It's this game. It does nothing for me. And that's exactly right. No matter how much confidence you have in your backup, you've got to protect him. And protecting him means giving him a 10-point lead, a 2-score lead. Your defense was playing well in the first quarter and a half. Tina says she's going to watch it for the commercials. I don't like either team. She's a Bills fan, still a little sore. I understand. Hey, look, I understand 100%. I'd be sore too. Opal says she's going to watch the commercials too. The good news is you can usually catch those on YouTube all run together the next day. And they've been underwhelming too recently. I wonder what the going rate is for a 30-second commercial or a 1-minute commercial. What was it, like 7 million last year? Whew. I bet you it's higher than that now. It's got to be. It's got to be. So I'm not bitter about the game yesterday. I thought the defense played their guts out. And, Stidham was not great. That was a terrible decision he made down there. But, again, I don't think his head coach did a lot to help him. And then the elements came into play. And that was the other part, too. That was the forecast. They'd even talked about how the snow that was just diving into Colorado was going to kick in at some point in the third quarter. And it did. And then again, if you're at worst, you're down or you're tied at 10 instead of trying to do that, right? But he tries to be the smartest guy in the room at all times, and it cost him. And it's not necessarily even, you could forgive going for it on fourth, because the other side of the argument is 4th and 1.5, whatever it was, you're showing confidence instead of, okay, look, you've made a play. Let's go. But the play call, short side of the field, a little slip screen that they had covered, they had guessed right. You don't have to cover as much of the field. I want to ask Coach Elmassian about that. I absolutely hate the short side of the field plays they get run. Food will be fired for the Super Bowl, but that's all I look forward to. I don't remember the Betty White Snickers commercial, Opal. They've been pretty forgettable, those commercials. But I won't. I mean, I don't care. Seattle, New England, I just don't care. Thanks to Family Fencing, Jason Green. Family Fencing Studios, 540-200-8294. They would come out and try to work in this weather. They may not succeed with the ice on the ground, but they would try. McClellan Chiropractic, thanks to Mark Hundley. Peppers Ferry Road. Mark, I hope you decide to stay home today. The roads are terrible. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. I'm going to try to hook up with Jonathan this week. Talk more about the IHRA partnership, presenting sponsor of this program. Little River Heating in there. 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to Charles Lee. Charles, you shouldn't be out today. You probably will be because you're so good at what you do, but be careful. Ryan Pry, the attorney, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. We hope to have the answer by Thursday. Maybe we'll center it around Super Bowl food. Your go-to Super Bowl food. There you go. Boom. That's our BDST fan question of the week. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of this program, thanks to Larry Ramsey. National Bank got honored at our game last week. And Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated, 38 years in business. Thanks to Travis Williams, right across from the NRCC. Bob Christ and the Ready, Set, Fun. Ready, Set, Fun. Hut, hut. Bob Christ 11 at gmail.com. They can help you raise money for your team or your organization. Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon, thank you so much for all your help with the T-shirts. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street, and the NRB Super Bowl. Did not do the meetup on Friday because I ended up having basketball on Friday. No, he is, Opal. I think he knew he screwed up too yesterday. And it wouldn't change anything, but wouldn't it be nice to see a little humility out of him? Hey, you know what? I felt confident and steady. Wanted to go for it there, kind of put foot on the throat a little bit. Terrible play call. Smoked pork butt sandwiches. Knicks fan, I'm coming to your house to not watch the Super Bowl. Hey, what's up, Jar Choco? What do you think? I think the head coach let down the Broncos yesterday more than Jarrett Stidham. Taco bar, really? Okay. I like that. I didn't watch the post game yesterday. I didn't want to hear from Sean Payton yesterday. After Stiddy threw that interception, I just went out and started shoveling. TLB, I know that you're trolling right now. Panera sandwich platter with soup, salad, and Reese's cup. Ice cream. Now, a lot of people would probably do that. I know Wayne would. Wayne probably pre-ordered his Super Bowl food 3 weeks ago. The thing when you lose this late in the year, Bo Nix is in year 2. You can never assume you're getting back, right? And I think that's the tough thing. Agreed, Chris. I thought for sure he was going to take the points because it was a long yard. I thought for sure. And then don't run something to the short side of the field. I think if it's 10-0, at that point, you're in the second quarter too, but midway in the second quarter or later, Patriots know the weather's coming at that point. Oh, I remember that now, Opal. Yeah, you're right. When I don't have my Snickers, I turn into yeah. Okay, yeah, that was a good campaign. Yeah, I'm not saying that the Broncos should get a different coach, Jar. I just think he blew it yesterday. I mean, he's turned the program around quickly overall. They're playing for a Super Bowl yesterday. But he did not have his strongest game yesterday. That's all I'm saying. The wind chills today are going to be very bad. Kevin Myatt saying, just don't go outside. Just don't leave the house. Yeah, exactly, Brian. It was a play call that had been tough for Knicks to run and succeed, much less your backup. And that's my whole thing, Chris. He knows the weather is coming. Everybody did. No, Tebow, can't stand it. It's probably my least favorite place. We've been making fun of I get a hard time from people in chat because they know my disdain for that for Panera. If I want a rock hard crust cheese sandwich that will break out my teeth, that's the place for me. Never understood it. Yeah, Creed has Creed has ventured out. He's very stubborn. And as I was shoveling, to get the driveway clear, at least he had a place to go. So he would come out for a little while. It was cold, but he'd come out and follow me down the driveway. As if to say, oh, thanks. Thanks for getting this to the point to where I can at least walk on it. Oh, there's no doubt. You're going to have AI all over the commercials, I'm sure. Mike's, Jersey Mike's, yeah. Substation 2. I like Jimmy John's as well. Yeah. Oh, is it really? Substation 2 is opening back up, Tebow? Ooh. Okay. Thanks for the heads up. We should get them as sponsors. Right? We should do that. Need to find a food sponsor for our March Madness contest. So, yeah, I just kind of appreciated the effort. The defense was terrific yesterday for the Broncos. And I do apologize for my coughing intervals. So this whole thing is because I was out last night shoveling in the cold. That's what this is. Fortunately, we'll have Coach Elmo on, and I don't have to talk as much. But I want to get his take on a couple of things Sean Payton did yesterday. And he may continue to evaluate Tech's recruiting portal class, too. Yeah, the Doghouse were a sponsor when we first came back on radio. I don't know what their advertising budget is. It's spelled the same way. It would make sense. Yeah, the Broncos' kicking game was terrible. Something else Peyton should have considered, because the kick that he gave up was a gimme, right? That's before the weather got really bad. It was windy, oh boy, you're right, but it was it would have been a 29, 30-yard field goal. So frustrating. It was frustrating. The offense, which we talked about, had not been great, consistently good over the last 6 weeks. And without Bo Nix, you didn't have much chance. And that's exactly the way it played out. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Now, keep in mind that I think today's voice problems are because I was out there last night. Mucinex. Mucinex has never worked for me, ever. I don't know why. It never has. Oh yeah. We had both local basketball teams suffer beatdowns, Paul. High Point came in and scored 93 on us Friday night. That was even without their best player, who has been dismissed from the team. 51 points in the second half. They kept running slip screens, and Radford never adjusted. I don't know how many layups they had in the second half. It had to be a dozen. slip screen after slip. It was just. And I did watch quite a bit of the Tech. For the first time, Tech got beat up in ACC play. They got beat up pretty good. Got beat up too pretty good. All right, what did Steve just send? All right, so the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce will be promoting the Chamber Challenge between now and December 1st? Oh, next coming up. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, keep me updated there, Steve. Thank you. We'll help out any way we can. Keep in mind, they're just the Hokies, Tina. They're not the Lady Hokies. Are they on a 5-game winning streak? Good. That's cool. I did not realize that. Let me send Coach Elmo a link here. Todd Grantham, and then Jen's going to join us today too. Because Jen could not come on. Well, I didn't do the show on Friday. And then I won't be doing the show this Friday because I'll be on the road. It's going to be way too much travel for me to be able to do that. Hey, we would love to get the doghouse back. It'd be great. Well, kudos then to Megan Duffy. I didn't realize they were on a 5-game winning streak. That's good. Yeah, they haven't. Louisville just seems to have – that's a matchup that doesn't work. That's a matchup that doesn't work. And I guess every team's due one of those, right? You're playing in the Yum Center. You're on the second half of that trip. Remember, they stayed out. Remember, Burnip told us Tech stayed out from Syracuse to Louisville, I believe. They did not come back. Morris says, I don't know what that is. Macallan's single malt, honey, and 2 aspirin. I have no medical or scientific proof. It just sounds like good advice. Uh-oh. Did somebody screw up a post-game interview? Fortunately, I don't watch any of that stuff, and I kept the Broncos game muted the whole time. I didn't have to hear Romo. I saw the best description. CBS broadcast the NFL like it's a golf tournament, and Fox broadcast the NFL like it's a NASCAR race. In other words, with lots of excitement and energy. I think that's probably the perfect description. I do. Oh, whiskey. Okay. Well, if I had some, because nobody's going anywhere today, I'm telling you. I bet you it's already. What's the wind chill already? That's why I shoveled last night. Yeah, it's 16. Feels like 0. And then the winds start at 10 o'clock. Yay, winter. There are people who will actually defend and say, hey, you know what? We love the winter. No. All right, joining us on a program now. There he is. He's the coach. Phil Elmassian. Coach, how are you? I don't like winter. I don't know about you.
Hey, well, I grew up in Massachusetts.
Oh.
But then in 1984, I got to work for Coach Holtz at Minnesota. So I lived in Minneapolis. And let me tell you, Rick, when people tell you, make sure you have a blanket and water and put it in your car, because if you were ever stranded on the road, you could die.
Yeah, 100% you could.
One weekend we had a bunch of recruits in, and I used to bring them over to my house for a Friday night meal. And one of the other coaches, John Palermo, he had Florida kids recruiting. I had Chicago, and he had Florida kids. So I said, well, bring them over. Come on, we'll have a good time. It was minus 40 below wind chill.
Ooh.
So back in the 80s, the old wood burning stoves. So I had a wood burning stove cranked up, and those 4 Florida kids, we got them big jackets and stocking caps. They never took anything off. I told JP, you have no chance at these
No
guys.
chance. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
let them go back home, right? Let them go back home.
Let me tell you, Rick, it was brutal, brutally cold.
Ugh. Can't stand it, man. It's nothing. There's nothing to be gained by this weather. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No. How much snow did y'all get?
Not a lot here. About 3.5 inches, but then we got 3 inches of sleet on top. But it wasn't bad here.
No, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. I got to ask you about Sean Payton a little bit yesterday. The 4th down call. What would you have done? Like, you're up 7-0. You got your backup out there. Your defense is really dominating, and he's got momentum. He's into the game. You're moving the ball. You're converting third downs. Points, right? Exactly. Why are they turning against taking points? I don't get it.
Well, when you really looked at it, he had not necessarily analytics. I don't know how all that works today.
I don't either.
Someone was in his ear, and it's a yard, and you get to the point. If you can't make a yard, then why be in the game? But then again, those guys are getting paid on the other side of the ball too, and they have. And I'll tell you, they have a heck of a defense.
They do. They're really good defense.
Yep. What a not to change the subject, but you talk about how about the Tennessee Titans? How stupid and ignorant do they look firing this guy?
I know. Year 1, he's in the Super Bowl. I know.
Year 1, turned it around. It's as good a job of coaching in the NFL as I've seen in a 1-year turnaround.
Yeah.
But no, you take the points because you're give the players a chance, give your team a chance, and coaches. The number one job as a coach is don't lose a game. And one play. I've always said that when it comes down to one play, that's tough duty. And because there's fit. I remember when I got the job at Virginia Tech, Coach Beamer. In 92, they lost about 4 or 5 games in the last couple of minutes. They were like right in a lot of games, but they ended up losing them in the last 2 minutes. So Frank came to me, goes, well, we got to work. We got to have a great 2-minute plan and work on the 2 minute. I said, well, Coach, before we do that, I want to evaluate the first 58 that got us to this point. Yeah. But that was so early in the game. If it's late in the game and maybe you have a chance, but still, you got to take the points. Give them a chance. Your defense is playing good. When you get to games like this, Rick, I remember when we used to play the great Michigan teams or Miami teams, particularly back in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. The whole deal was your defense you got to go into a game saying, okay, your defense has to outperform their defense or keep up with the performance of their defense. Because their defenses were so good, they're going to make plays. They're going to make their plays. And so consequently, you got to challenge your players that when for momentum in the game, you got to keep up with them. You got to go out and make plays. And they were doing that up until that, fourth down. And so now I know he's probably kicking himself in the butt, or somebody got fired on that staff. Maybe one of the analytic guys. Yeah, he is a great coach.
No, he is.
I think what he has done with, like I said, there's just a handful of guys like Andy Reid, the guy at San Francisco, There's a handful of NFL guys in the modern era of NFL football that know how to really develop that position. When you look at Andy Reid, what he did with Donovan McNabb and the Smith kid from Utah, and and I think I heard this, Rick. When he made that Super Bowl run in New Orleans, he went 5-0 with the backup quarterback when Breeze was hurt.
Yeah.
And I forget who the backup quarterback was. I don't know if it was a kid from Florida State, Winston. I don't know who it was.
It may have been Jameis Winston or maybe somebody before that. Yeah.
I don't know. But it was like, whatever, 3 to 5 wins in that time that Drew Brees was injured, that he went undefeated with them. So when they talk about, how they lost Bo Nix, I'll tell you, if you look at that first quarter, up until that fourth down, he didn't look no different to me. I mean, he threw that pass, the first bomb he threw, what a great decision he made, because he had one-on-one and turned it loose and put it right where it's supposed to be. And you're right. He was about to make cash in and make himself a bunch of money. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, and a lot of times when your quarterbacks lose their composure, there's a reason for it. Because like I said, those other guys on the other side of the ball are getting paid too.
It's always pressure, isn't it? Pressure.
Performance under pressure. Rick.
And those guys were coming after him, and he made that horrible decision in there and gifted them the touchdown. Yeah.
What you want to be able to do and say, okay, let's see what this guy and for the most part, he held his composure. For about a half of football, he was actually going to go on and make himself a bunch of money as a potential starter somewhere for somebody, and he may still have. But the team was playing with great confidence, and that's what to me, a reflection of the coaching and the staff also. There's no everybody's got to go play better. No, everyone's just got to go play, do your job. We got there for a reason. The quarterback's not going to be the excuse for losing the game. But I do think that. And then here's the other thing: the second game, it was interesting that when they had the taunt, Seattle had the taunting penalty. How about that kid that he made a heck of a play? It was 3rd and 12. This defensive back makes a great play to break up a pass, and now it's 4th and 12. LA's got to punt the ball, and Seattle's in control of the game. He goes down the sidelines on the LA side and starts chirping, and literally got to the point where LA's quarterback he ended up chirping back, and he's chirping at coaches, chirping at players. Well, they throw a flag. They throw the flag on the kid, and it was all of a sudden it's first down. And then, but here's the thing: the player's body language at that time, when you see it, he was like, "What the heck did I just do?" He knew he did a absolute stupid, ignorant penalty that's going to cost his team. And I said, I'm watching the game by myself, and I'm sitting going, "Go after this guy." I swear to God, I said, "They're going after this." I'd have gotten that. I'd have called timeout. Made sure this kid had his composure. He screwed up, but now, okay. I always tell defensive backs, you screw up, okay. You cost a play. Now you better make a play. You owe this football team to make a play. Well, they went after him. And that's when they hit the touchdown. It just did a little go route, and the guy was so into the penalty play on the next play and lost his composure, and they threw LA threw the touchdown pass, and next thing you know, they're back in it, and it almost cost them. It did cost them the game.
Coach, what's your opinion about? Let's go back to the play call on 4th and 1 for Sean Payton. If you're coordinating a defense and you're looking at it, do you like it when a play is rotating toward the sideline, the short side of the field. He didn't have a lot of room to run or make a quick decision. He had to make a quick decision. That play got covered up pretty quickly. Or do you think, would you rather have had that in more open space where maybe you can single out a couple of receivers, or what do you think?
Yeah, the NFL hash marks it's basically, Rick, the ball is in the middle of the football field.
Yeah.
When to a point, there's such a big discrepancy. That's one thing that the NCAA and the rules, they always try to distinguish, have a distinguishable deal between the NCAA and NFL, and hash marks are one of them. I think before it's all over with, they'll probably move them into the NFL. I'll probably be dead, but they'll move them in. But the ball's played in the middle of the football field, and sometimes it's a numbers game. The football's a numbers game. Got 5 blockers, I need 6 defenders. If I'm in a 4 or 5 man rushes or pressures or fronts, becomes a numbers game. If I got 1 receiver, I basically need 2 defenders. If I've got, and you can do that as long as the quarterback's, I call it's an 11 defensive players versus 10 offensive players, because the quarterback's not going to be accountable in terms of the running game. So, they probably may have felt they had the right numbers. And, but then there was a thing called pressure. Next thing you know, he's running for his life too. And that play, the Patriots, you talk about Dolphins, no-name defense. I can't name a starter on their defense.
I know. They play great as a unit. They do.
They were so, when I remember watching them against the Giants, I went, wow, this is this physical and NFL team. When they hit Jackson Dart, that one linebacker hit him and launched him into the seats almost, and it was clean play. There's no penalty. He was still in bounds and he was running. It wasn't a cheap shot. He was right in front of them. But the physicality, what they play with and how they play the game is what really. I haven't seen many NFL teams consistently play that way defensively, but just the physicality of the game. Great tribute to their coach.
And I think I saw they were 9-0 on the road, counting that win.
On the road. How about that?
In the NFL, that's unheard of.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, the team's a reflection of the coach. And then, and then you got to have a great staff. And, I remember when he became the linebacker coach at Ohio State. He was a great player at Ohio State. I was coaching at Purdue, I think 2011-ish, I think. He got the linebackers job, and I was so upset. We had a kid out of Cincinnati that they had not offered a linebacker. We had him in camp. They had not offered him yet. He had an Indiana offer, and I forget where else, and we offered him, and he loved it. We thought we were going to get him. And when Vrabel got the linebackers job, I was coaching the linebackers. So I said to myself, who would you want to play for, Phil Elmassian or Mike Vrabel? I'm going to Ohio State. Kid, it's like I can't blame the kid. I felt like calling the kid up and say, hey, can I go with you? But he's a great coach. He was a great college coach. Great professional coach. It's an indictment on the Tennessee Titans to fire him and then hire Callahan from.
Yeah.
Who I knew. I worked.
Who they fired?
Yeah, who they fired in a year and a half. I knew that wasn't going to work. You talk about winning the name, because his son is Bill Callahan is
right. The O-line coach. Yeah.
The probably premier offensive line coach in the NFL. Bill Callahan will always be employed. And he's always told me this. If you can take 4th, 5th round guys and turn them into 1st round money guys after they're, to become free agent, the GMs are going to love you.
Yeah.
You will have a job in the NFL. You'll be employed. And he just got another job site, forget where, somewhere in the whole line. But Brian, I knew that wasn't going to work. I know Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor was our quarterback in Nebraska when Bill was the coach. And Zach Taylor runs the offense. I've been there. I went to their practices. The defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, got my Colts shirt on. He was my GA at Syracuse. The strength coach played for me at Wisconsin. The linebacker coach, Mark Duffner, he and I played at William Mary together. I knew all these. So I used to go up there and spend days up there. And he was a paper hanger. You know, he organized for the head football coach because the head football coach, Zach, called the plays. He ran the room. And actually, you know, and my buddy, Lou Anarumo, who was the D coordinator that really took him to the Super Bowl, and then they wouldn't pay. All of a sudden, Jesse Bates is getting he's a free agent, great player for the Falcons, and wouldn't pay him. You know, so they lost all these good players after the Super Bowl, defensive players. They wouldn't pay him, and so that was, I knew that was going to be a disaster, and it was. And here you go, Mike Vrabel's going to the Super Bowl.
So now what do? They hire basically the same guy in Robert Saleh, who failed as a head coach miserably in New York. He's a great coordinator. So you bring that in. It's the same background, right? Same thing.
It's a good, you know, sometimes it just depends, Rick. You know, you look at some guys that do get fired and their first time around being head coaches, it's huge. Sad that you learn on the job and you learn at the expense of being fired and losing games. So it could be good news, bad news. The bad news is he's got a bad track record. The good news is if he's learned and he's ready again, and, you know, a la Bill Belichick, Cleveland Browns, although the Browns weren't that bad. They were very competitive.
No, they were getting better, yeah.
He was the head coach. Nick Saban was his D coordinator. So, you know, that could would have a chance to work, maybe, you know.
Well, we shall see. Defenses will show up. You have 2 weeks now. Seattle, slight favorites over New England, and we'll see. You look at it immediately and say, oh, well, Seattle's going to be the team. Well, you know, you got 2 weeks to make adjustments, man. We've seen defenses do that. And what's it mean for a guy like Drake May in year two, even though he didn't throw the ball great, but he didn't hurt them? You know, he did not hurt them with turnovers. He made some great decisions to run. What does that do for him and his confidence to be in a Super Bowl in year two? Wow.
Not only just for him, it's as we've always talked about, Rick, and through my experiences and just, you know, what a quarterback can do, the productive quarterbacks that have all those intangibles, it just, everybody's talent is raised. It raises the talent in every individual room, which reflects the positioning, you know, the offensive line room. And let me tell you, the defense, huge effect because it gives you hope. You know, on Monday through Saturday for the NFL or Monday through or Sunday through Friday for a college team, you go into a game, you have hope. You have a chance. You know you'll have a chance. So, you know, I remember when we had Ron Dane, a little different story because we really had an average quarterback in the first Big Ten championship. You know, when his senior year, our kids knew he had a chance. Who don't screw this up. This guy's got a chance to win the Heisman. We have a chance to win the Big Ten. I mean, there were so many goals that we could have achieved, but, you know, and everybody just played better. They practiced harder. They practiced with, you know, it's practicing hard is one thing, but practicing with great purpose is another.
Yeah.
You got to practice with purpose, and which every snap there's a method behind the madness, and that's what he'll do. That's what he's done. He has surpassed my expectations, you know, because at Carolina, I mean, here's this quarterback is the best that's ever been there, and they're 8-win football team. 7-8 win football team with Mac because they couldn't play any defense worth a damn.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't. He fired just about every D coordinator he had. And it was the problem was him, not the coordinator.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You could tape eggs on the front of their helmets in a practice and they'd still be there because they were soft as the color of the uniform. And I say that very professionally. I've never lost to them.
Yeah.
Virginia, when I was at UVA, we went 4-0 and beat the ever you know what out of them. And we weren't that good. So, but I think it's great. Great testament to the offensive coordinator and himself and what he's done. You look, I mean, he was a year ago, he's considered a washout.
Yeah.
A year ago. Another washout, another first round bust.
Yeah, will he develop? They just had his coach fired. Yeah, what's going to happen with Drake May? And then he's getting with somebody.
And Seattle's quarterback, same thing. With great stories. You know,
that guy, Darnold.
Coaching can do. You know, and like I said, there's only a few people in that league or even in college football that really know how to develop that position. One, evaluate it, then develop it. You know, O-line, quarterback, and defensive back. You better have a guy there. You can't pay them enough if they're good at those two things, evaluating it and developing it.
Coach, we have a question for you in chat from Wayne. What made, from a defensive coach's perspective, what made Ron Dane so much made him different? Speed, power, eyesight? What was it about Ron Dane that stood out?
Well, he was 270, 65 pounds. He actually, by the time he was a senior, he really got himself in a really good physical condition. He never really took care of himself. I was with him for 3 years. When I first got there, we used to call him the Mac back or the whack back. Against whack teams and Mac teams, he'd get 200 yards rushing. We played Michigan and people like that, and they'd kick his ass, you know. And we had a good old line. But he wasn't in great condition, but he really dedicated. He did a turnaround. But the other thing, too, it's 265 pounds. All of a sudden, he gets loose in the secondary. We're playing, whether it's UCLA, Penn State, or Michigan, and he's outrunning the DBs. You know, his problem in the NFL was he had very average to below average hands in terms of abilities to catch a ball and pass protection. Not that he couldn't or wouldn't, but he for his whole college career, he didn't have to. He just didn't have to because Barry would give him the ball 30 times, 25, 30 times a game. And let me tell you, in the fourth quarter, it was devastating. All we had to do was play good defense for the first half, just keep us in the game. And then the second half, it was a road grading bludgeoning between our offensive line and that big guy. It was a lot of fun. And the Michigan, Lloyd Carr, there's not a coach. After you played us at Wisconsin, a lot of your kids were in the tub on Sunday. There was a lot of brutal and black. I promise you. We were as physical a team as you want to see.
Oh, I remember you in that Rose Bowl against UCLA.
Woo. Oh,
jeez Louise.
It was brutal. I mean, you know, brutal.
When did you realize that game was over? At what part of warm-ups did you look over and go, wow, this is gonna be fun today?
If effort was a talent, UCLA had no talent on defense. Their efforts, their effort. They had a great Cade McNown was a great quarterback. They had really outstanding skilled people and offensive line. They really had great players on offense. Defensively, they were just horrendous. They were outscoring people. And then we got into that game and it was a heck of a game. They'd score, we'd score. And finally, Jamar Fletcher, one of my corners, had an interception for a touchdown. Like I said, you block a punt, you get an interception for a touchdown, that momentum swing is to a point where your percentages of winning a game going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, we're now set for the Super Bowl, Coach. I didn't know, were there a couple more guys you wanted to look at that you had evaluated for test?
It's interesting. When I got very briefly the portal at.
And I'm going to let you go, Coach. I'm going to let you just go for a second. I got to go clean some house here with this coughing and this snot. So you just go, and I'll be back here just a little bit. All right, I'll be back here.
Go for
okay, well, good. Here's Coach talking about tech, guys. I'll be right back. All right.
Well, doing the portal at Virginia Tech, they got some real interesting players. I went through the quarterback, who I think has got a chance to be a very good quarterback. They've got a. I would pressure him in practice to get him to learn to be comfortable with pressure. I think that's experience and youth. The two things that are going to change offensively for Virginia Tech, big changes, is offensive line, the size of the offensive line there. He has done now hopefully they can play. But let me tell you, as they come out of the tunnel, they will look like a Big Ten football team. I'll promise you that. When they go through pregame warmups, they're going to get the attention of the other coaches, those offensive linemen that he's bringing in, not only through the portal, but even the freshmen that they've signed. And then the other factor is the multiplicity of tight ends. You know, with the tight ends they're bringing from Penn State, who the Luke Reynolds kid, who was a really good tight end, but he's the third best tight end they had. Number 87 and 16 were the better players. He's the third best, but he's going to be good enough to start at Virginia Tech or start at a lot of other places. That's how good the tight end room was. And then the Matt Henderson, the kid they redshirted from Pocosin, 6'5", 245. And you got Benji Gosnell. So you're going to see multiple tight ends, what we'll call 12 personnel, 13 personnel, because a lot of the spread offenses have affected the defenses where they're playing with 5 DBs, as a base defense. Now, that's where you'll see multiple tight ends are coming in the game, and they're just getting big people in there. So those two factors in pregame warm-up, they will win pregame between the tight end and offensive line come out next fall, as I look at it. They signed a Logan Howland from Oklahoma, 6'6", 320-pound kid, 2028 kid, good player, big, good size guy. They have him at tackle. I think he plays a lot top heavy kid. I'd have made him a guard because I'd have him protected. I think a good speed rusher will give him some problems, but he is a big large human being, and mass kicks ass. So that's how can you not take him? That's how you got to look at it. The kids, I think 4 other kids that really impact the program big time is a corner from Troy named Jarquez White, 6'1", 190 pounds, 2027 guy. He's a big time corner. He's got NFL potential. Cam Chadwick out of UConn, University of Connecticut, a 6 foot, 185 pounder. He's another DB. Just talking about the DBs, Rick.
Okay.
That got through
Thanks,
the portal.
Coach.
Yeah. Rick, when I tell him, I said the things that are going to change. I always said, who's going to win pregame? When coaches look on the other side and go, damn, there's a good looking football team. I always used to look over and I go, damn it. Yeah. So
it's going to be tough today.
Virginia Tech's offensive line will get the opposing coach's attention in pregame. They're going to look like a Big Ten football team. They will look like a Big Ten football team. The kids they're bringing in between the freshmen and the portal kids. The kid they're getting out of Oklahoma, 6'7", 6'6", 320 pounds. They haven't had this that I can remember. And I've gone up to their spring practices, and I know the difference between like when I was at LSU, our offensive line was massive. I know Andrew Whitworth because I recruited him. Okay, right. Hall of Fame, 6'6", 330-pound tackle. They're going to look like that, and then the multiple tight ends, that they're going to have. I'm sure they'll use Benji Gosnell way more than the previous staff had used them. They're going to get into 12 personnel, 2 tight end, 3 tight end offenses, and they're going to look the part also. There's going to be opposing coaches going, boy, I wish I had that kid. And so that'll be the biggest change in Virginia Tech football that I think people will see. Now, when the ball snapped, find out if they're good players or not. The 4 defensive players they brought into the portal, I think, will have an effect on the football team or an impact. Jacquez White, a DB from Troy, 6'1", 190. I really like him. He's got NFL. I think he's got a potential NFL talents. Hopefully he's got the college talents, but it looked like to me. Then the other kid, really impressive, was Cam Chadwick from UConn. He's 6 foot 185. He's a 2028 guy. Good looking kid. I mean, great body control. Another, if I'm an NFL scout, I'm not only do I want to know his number, I want to know his name, and I'm looking forward to following his development. The defensive tackle kid they got from Ohio State. I love this kid. He's 6'2", 295, and he's got great feet. He's motor. I don't know why they let him go. I don't know how and why or whatever the reason. Maybe that's how good they are, because he is a really, really good player. And then the last kid, a kid from Penn State, defensive end, 6'2", 257, Daniel Jennings. This kid was a redshirt kid, but I watched his high school. He was a running back in high school. And let me tell you, it's like watching Ron Dane's high school tapes.
Wow.
I mean, he was a 250-pound tailback, halfback in high school. A halfback, not a blocking fullback, a running back. And those are the kids that you love to recruit, because they can do a lot of different things. There's 2 positions, Rick, when you're watching tape that you can evaluate judgment initially. And that's one at quarterback and running back. When you watch judgments and decision making consistently, you really, those are the 2 positions that I think
that makes sense.
The top 2 that you can look on a tape and say, boy, this kid's got good judgment. So consequently, running backs, quarterbacks make good linebackers, DBs. When it's all said and done, I loved. And then if the high school coach told me he was a wrestler, forget about it. I don't care. He may be the backup. I want to talk to this kid. If
he's wrestling. Yeah.
If he was an all-state wrestler, I'm talking to the kid. And but this Daniel Jennings, he's a 2029 guy. And I think I told you, instead of doing stars, I put $signs next to their value.
I love that. That.
He's a 4 money guy to me. 4 was my tops. Okay. So I had 4 money guy, 3 money guys, 2 and 1. He was a 4 money guy for me. And he hadn't taken a snap in college football yet. But he'll be fun to watch. So those were the guys. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 10 guys in the portal that they got should be breaking into the starting lineups and impact the team.
So about half, which is
And the other kids, you don't know. There's no tape on them. There's no tape on them. They were red shirts. Right. The great thing that Todd has, it's been awesome. I never did the portal kids for Greg, because this PFF thing is ridiculous, Rick. It's ridiculous.
That's cool.
You can break down. The first thing I go to is their missed tackles. That's the first thing I go to on defense. I go to the missed tackles. Then I go to the tackles made. Then I go, then I'll look at the coverage pass plays that they're involved in at the point of attack. And then I'll end up going to a full overview. As a matter of fact, a lot of times and I did this when I was coaching and evaluating and recruiting, is I would look at them and I'd evaluate them. And as the more you see, the more perspective you get on each player when you start comparing, and you start making your list of, okay, who's your best kid? Who's the next best kid? Who's the next best kid? And like for Todd, once it's over, I'm going back. I'm going to go back through them again. And I just did that. So I'd go back through them again. And I'll tell you, I've had 2 kids that I evaluated that I really didn't like. And then after going back through, all of a sudden you start seeing some things. You're going, oh, okay, all right, yeah, this kid's got a chance. So, and that's always been a lot of fun for me to do that. You reevaluate yourself, let alone the player you're looking at.
Sure.
Trying to always getting better as an evaluator of their physical talents and their position-specific productivity.
Before we let you go, Coach, Wayne asked, Coach, you are from Massachusetts. What made you decide to go to William & Mary to be a defensive
back? Well, I went to Ferrum Junior College first.
Right. Coach Norton, right?
Yeah. Coach Norton. We had 2 players from my high school. Quick story, Rick. I think your viewers will appreciate this. My wife keeps telling me you need to write a book about this, or they need to make a movie about it.
You do need to write a book. Your book would be out. Yes, you do. You do.
And my high school was Wellesley High School in Massachusetts. And Massachusetts, hockey's number 1. It's a hockey state. And back in the 60s, Boston College, UMass, but recruiting, it's not a football state. It's actually the 3rd best high school sport, hockey being number 1. And so we weren't being recruited. And we had one player in 1965, a guy named Lou Santaspago. These are all the Italians that were playing in my high school. Lou, big guy, good player. Our janitor, Rick, Al Bigwood was his name. He was our janitor, our custodian. Just took an interest in the kids back in the mid-'60s. He started writing letters for Lou. About, hey, he wrote all over the country, wrote him letters back in the day when you wrote letters, and hey, you need to come up and look at the kid. Ed Merrick, the old Richmond coach back in the mid-'60s, wrote Al Bigwood back and say, we like the kid, but we're out of scholarships. Contact Hank Norton at Ferrum Junior College. And so he did. And so Lou goes to Ferrum. Scholarship to Georgia Tech, captain at Georgia. He was an All-American junior college player, and then signed at Georgia Tech, was the captain at Georgia Tech, and he's, they talk about him still down there at Georgia Tech. The next guy 2 years later is Rock Perdoni. I mentioned that to you. Rock goes to Ferrum, junior college All-American. The custodian sends him down there. He's a junior college All-American. So this guy's 2 for 2 for Coach Norton. And both players, he won national championships on those teams at both places. Well, in the 68 team, Rock goes, and then he goes to Georgia Tech, and he was the one who was elected captain after spring practice. And he was a consensus All-American, made all 6 All-American teams, second behind Jim Stillwagon, the Lombardi Award. So here I am 2 years later, I ain't got a place to go, and he just comes by. I'm at the cafeteria, and I'm sitting down, and all of a sudden he dropped all the programs and Ferrum brochures and kept pushing me to Ferrum, and I had no place else to go. So here I was, a snot-nosed, know-it-all, Joe Namath wannabe quarterback coming down to Ferrum wearing white shoes. I get down to Ferrum, and I didn't realize our first warm-ups were arm circles and bull in the ring.
Oh.
And those are the warm-ups.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the first person in the circle better be the quarterback. So I get in that circle, and a guy named Phil Mosser, who put Lou Holtz on the map at William & Mary, hit me. And I'm telling you what, my sternum was so bruised, knocked the wind out of me. I'm on the ground. And next thing you know, is a guy named Jerry Kirk leaned over me. Get up, you chicken, you know what. And I went, this is different. and I got up, and I stayed with it. And next thing you know, Coach Norton stayed with Coach, and I got a scholarship to play for Lou Holtz at William.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But it's all because of the custodian, the janitor. That's how we all got down there. The janitor, Rick.
That's great,
Not a high
though.
school coach. Yeah,
He's
not-
looking after you guys. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
he
Lou
was on
Holtz was a hell of a football coach, wasn't he? I don't think people get how just unbelievable of a coach Lou Holtz. He won everywhere.
In 2 years, he took
Everywhere.
over. Let me tell you, Minnesota may have been in one of his better jobs when I was coached with him. I coached with him at Minnesota too. So one thing I'm really proud of, Rick, I played for 3 different head coaches. Hank Norton, then going to Lee Murray for Lou. Lou left for NC State, and then a gentleman named Jim Root took it over my senior year. So I played for 3. Now, one thing I'm really, really proud of, Rick, I got to work for all 3 of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I am so proud of that. But playing for Lou was great, and coaching with Lou was I told you, we'd be losing kids to Notre Dame, and if you had a Notre Dame kid you lost to, he wouldn't say a word and be ripping everybody else's ass. And then finally, Pete Cordelli, one of the assistants, I said, what's going on? He goes, he's going to be coaching them next year at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But he was a great coach, love him to death. His genuine enthusiasm, for his players and the game itself, he was Woody Hayes. Really, Woody Hayes had a tremendous impact on how he approached the game because he was a DB coach. He said they were in the Rose Bowl and O.J. Simpson made a 60-yard run. This year they won Ohio State won the national championship. They beat SC in the Rose Bowl. He said Lou was the DB coach. He had Jack Tatum back there.
Goodness. Yep.
Safety. So Lou was the DB coach. Yeah, so Woody came running down to him. He goes, how'd he go 60 yards? He goes, well, that's all he needed. Or why did he go 60 yards? Coach, that's all the yards he needed.
60 cents. 60 is all he needed. It's great.
Hey, I'll let you go. You having Todd on next?
Yeah, Todd's coming on next. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Can't wait to listen. I'll tell you, that portal, you know what he's got in the portal too? He did a great job. A lot of 20, 28 kids. He's got years with these kids to develop them. So that's the good news. And I'll tell you, on paper, I'm impressed. I mean, I am really impressed. I don't know about offensively, but defensively, they'll come out. They're going to look a lot different. I promise you.
Look, we're going to put him on now. He's got you under employment, Coach. I mean, is he a pretty good boss, that Grantham guy?
Heck yeah. Hey, have we switched? We've switched the past. I was his boss. Now I'm his boss now. So, yeah. Good to be the king. I love this guy. This guy was the best. Yeah. This guy we had Hank Coleman and Lawrence Lewis. Let me tell you what, these guys couldn't play for nobody except Virginia Tech. Nobody. And I know I rejected Hank Coleman at Virginia when I was coach. I couldn't find a place for him. And I told Steve Marshall to take him. We were sitting there and watching. I said, Steve, take him. If I were you, I'd take him. I can't find a position for him. But he could run, and he was a great kid. And old Todd did a great job with those kids. I'll promise you. God almighty. They played so hard, and it was a lot of fun watching those kids develop.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. I'll let you guys go.
All right, Coach. Be good,
all right,
man.
Bub.
All right,
take
boss.
care. See
Hey, I'm still working. I'm still evaluating for you. God almighty.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
How much fun has that been? How much fun has that been?
The thing about Elmo is he talked about that bull in a ring. I think that thing's illegal now. We were playing at West Virginia, and we in warm-ups we had a kid break his nose in the warm-ups doing bull in the ring.
What was our hamburger drills weren't necessarily bull in the ring, but it was close. It was more of a, hey, you're in the chute. Uh-oh, did we lose Todd? We lost Todd there. Let me send you another invite, Coach. Hang on. Yeah, what happens? we're in cold weather time. Thanks to Coach Elmo. I'll send him another invite. Actually, to be honest, I'm surprised things have worked out as well as they have. There he is. He's back now. Hey, there he is.
I used the
there
old
you go.
I'm good, man. So
what was our did our hamburger drills come from Bull in the Ring? It was different.
So hamburger was a one-on-one, like O-line against D-line or an offensive
absolutely.
Player. Yeah, that's illegal now too. But you can get around it. You just call it block protection. You just got to change the wording in it. Like it's technically legal. Yeah, rather than calling it hamburger, you just call it block protection drill or block destruction drill, and you do that. But yeah, the old hamburger drill. We're playing out West Virginia, and Elmo made the guys. Back then they had the state in the middle of the field at West Virginia, and he made Billy Myers in the corners circle up and said, "We're going to hit somebody today, and we're going to start now." And anyway, somebody broke their nose in warm-ups, and we ended up winning the game, but we lost the player. So I guess it balanced out.
We played for Coach Hicks, and he used to talk about the weather a lot and how much of a factor it was going to be, right? He was always keen to the weather.
Oh, yeah.
I got to get your take on Sean Payton yesterday, and I'm a little bitter because it's not revisionist history. I didn't like it at the time. You're up 7-0. You got your backup quarterback. Defense is flying all over the place.
Yeah.
Stidham has got, momentum. It's fourth and about a yard and a half. And I know, hey, look, you're in the playoffs, and it's just been the trend of the league to go for it. But you got to take the point, especially when you know the snowstorm is coming.
See, I disagree with that because early in the game, you take the points. You take your points, and then as the game goes along, the score can dictate how you play that situation. So I disagree with that. I always think you take the points.
Agreed.
And, you take the points. That even Coach Saban now. I mean, he was always take the points and then let the game come to you rather than forcing it. And like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're evaluating the teams, the biggest difference in those two teams yesterday was the quarterbacks. Meaning, if you look at who the Broncos were going to play with compared to who the Patriots had. Like anytime you can take a 2-score lead, you take it. And I think that's the biggest difference. So, Sean feels like he's an expert on things. So, he kind of defended himself in his press conference, but I disagree with that philosophy. I think early in the game, you always take the points and let the game come to you from that standpoint. So anyway, what's interesting is remember, I don't know if we were talking about it last week, it's amazing the special teams plays, like even going back to the Miami and Indiana game, that block punt's really the difference in the game. And it's the worst sound in football. It was a double thump, thump, thump. And, Miami really kind of had Indiana on the ropes in the fourth quarter in the second half. Like they really weren't stopping them. And at the end of the day, the difference in that game was the special teams playing the block punt. And then you go to the Seattle game yesterday, and there were a couple things there which was interesting. One, obviously, the drop punt that led to a touchdown. But the other one is and I think this is a big miscue is, always talk about the middle eight. The middle eight, meaning like the Rams had the ball like 2 minutes before the half, okay? And they're up 3. All right, well, the object right then is not necessarily the score, okay? What I mean is you're up 3, okay? So if you're at 2 minutes in the game, well, you got to go score. You got to go. That's the end of the game. But when you have another half to play, plus, Seattle was going to get the ball to start the second half. So therefore, to me, in that situation, the number one priority is to get out of the half with a lead. Meaning, I'm gonna take the clock, and if I can get points, great. But I'm going to control the clock. And they gave Seattle the ball back with so much time left that they were able to go down and score. Get the ball to start the second half. That's the middle eight thing. And that's one thing that when I was at Florida with Dan and I, like if you looked at our middle eight, like we crushed people. And to me, that's where you could really get an advantage in not so much in pro football because guys kind of have a feel for it, but in college football, you can get an advantage with the middle eight and get a 2-for-1 and you can control it. And the reason that came about when I was at, everything comes from a study. You know what I mean? Like somehow we screwed that up, right? So when I was at when I was at Michigan State, we played Michigan in the big house. Okay. And we were winning the game. I want to say 3-0. Okay. It could have been 7-3. It was really close game. And there was like a minute 46, 2 minutes to go in the first half. And within 2 minutes, they scored 21 points. All right. So the game was over. You know what I'm saying? And it came about, they scored in a 2-minute drive. We tried to go 2 minute and we got a pick and they ended up getting it back. So anyway, my point is we did a study that off season with Nick. And basically at the end of the game, if you ever watch a Nick Saban team, is if you were backed up 2 minutes before the half, you were going to run the ball, control the clock. That didn't mean you didn't throw it, but it was always safe passes, high percentage passes so the clock could keep running, balls in the flat, things like that, so that you could control the clock as well as move. And then once you got to like the 40-yard line, then you could go 2 minutes. But up until then, you were gonna take the clock and the half and not let the other team have control of that. So I thought that was a big mistake, you know, on the Rams' part right there, is that middle eight. And you know, it really cost them in the game.
I know it's early, you got 2 weeks to go, but who do you like in that matchup? Just
Seattle.
look at both defenses. What do you think?
Yeah, Seattle. I mean,
yeah.
Of course, you know, I'm a little biased because, I actually hired Mike at Mike McDonald. I actually hired him at Georgia. He was coaching at Cedar Shoals High School nearby, and another one of our GAs kept going to the Starbucks, and he was a coach. And Mike was just hanging out there trying to meet somebody, right? And anyway, Mike met the other GA, and we were looking for a GA at the time on defense, but back then it was truly GA, meaning you had to go to grad school. So anyway, Mike came in the off season, and of course he had his resume, he's well prepared and all that. And I'm like, you're a business major from University of Georgia. You got a chance to be a CPA. I'm like, well, no, why do you want to coach? And anyway, he kind of got into, he loved it and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we hired him, and he worked for me for 2 years and did a great job. You know, systematically, one time we played Florida when they had the guy from Boise, and they had so many personnel groupings that we had 3 GAs, and it was really confusing. But we had a tip that when 43 was in the game, it was big people generally. It could be 1 wide receiver, 2 wide receivers, but it was 90% run. So one of my assistants, it was so loud you couldn't hear. So he was, and back then there was a headset deal, like you could only have so many headsets or whatever. So that guy's job was to watch 43, and if he went in the game, just touch my arm. That was it. So he would just touch my arm, and I knew right then that we were going to be in base and we were going to stop the run, because it was really hard to watch with the way they ran guys on and off. But anyway, Mike came up with that system that we had. And he did a good job with that, and then got him a job with Harbaugh as an intern. He was just an intern at Baltimore, and worked his tail off. Really smart guy and really growing the profession, and ended up doing a really good job. And what happened is Michigan was struggling at the time. This is right back when, you know, Harbaugh took the pay cut, and it was like, are we going to fire Harbaugh at Michigan?
Yeah.
And he had to hire a new coordinator. Was brothers obviously with the Ravens, and he was like, look, this guy's really sharp, I think you should hire him. So he ended up hiring Mike to Michigan, and they went on and did well. And then Harbaugh at the Ravens started having trouble, and he fired his defensive coordinator. So he brought Mike back there, and Mike did a really good job there, and ended up getting a head coaching job. So we still laugh about it and everything. So it's all good. I do got to talk to him about his game prep. I saw that people making a big deal about, I don't know if you saw it, where he sees his son 30 minutes to an hour a week now that is during the season. And I kind of get it. Monday through Wednesday is kind of tough as a coach. I don't care what you're doing. I mean, you're going to be there from that standpoint. But we got to maybe work on that schedule a little bit, where Thursdays and Fridays he can be a little bit freer. So anyway, but obviously getting back to it, the Seahawks, I think, have got a really good defense. And really, I was in New Orleans with Clint, with Kubiak, and I really was like, if you went back and looked, like if you look at Carr's, Carr's first 2 games with Clint, like we went to Dallas and beat Dallas like 45 to 14 or something like that. And then what happened is guys started getting hurt, meaning like we had 2 linemen get hurt. Well, when the 2 linemen got hurt, that equaled more hits on the quarterback. Then the quarterback got hurt. So it just kind of snowballed from there. But, Clint's the guy that he'll end up getting a head coaching job here soon, because if you just look at the way Sam Darnold has played this year and then yesterday, it's all about the quarterback and the development of the quarterback. And obviously, Kubiak's dad was a longtime coach with the Texans and everything. So, so I'm kind of rooting for those guys from that perspective. But I do think they got the best team to win.
Morris, coach, says, I'm a homer, but I've watched Todd's career. I've always wanted Todd in some capacity at VT. I'm a Florida Gator fan as well. Hell of a career anyway, Todd, Morris says. So there you go.
Yeah, it was a good one, man. It was fun. So enjoyed it. Probably the funnest was actually getting it with Phil coming in. We basically revamped that defense. That's one of the reasons I've always enjoyed, if you look at my history, is taking over, bad defenses statistically. And the job that we did with Phil as the coordinator at Tech, we were able to get to that Independence Bowl, which back then that was a big deal. We played Independence Bowl and actually played Indiana in the Independence Bowl, and ended up beating them, and that kind of launched the next 3 years. I mean, actually, the next 3 years we won 27 games in 3 years, which was 9 a year, which was pretty high at the time, and that was when they had an 11-game schedule, so it was pretty good.
Well, what about your class down at UAB? When will things be kind of free to talk about it? You guys done, or is it ever done?
No, so, I guess you still have the February signing day, which, no more, nobody listens. Remember back in the day, that used to be on ESPN, and that was like a big deal, and everybody announced where they're going. Dudes would pick up this hat, but then drop it and pick up another hat and all that kind of stuff, right? So that kind of went to the December deal. And obviously the portal then took over, and with the portal, you obviously had to get guys in school before your spring classes, your drop ad date. So now this last session is kind of taking a back seat. So we got a couple spots left. We're not going to be in any hurry. I don't think you ever turn down a big guy if you find one that you feel can give you some depth and future development from that standpoint. And then I think with the other spot defensively, to me, it would go back to the way we used to do the draft at the end. Is just take the best available player. Meaning, don't take a corner just to take a corner. I mean, we already got 11, and like we're fine. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't take a number just to take a number. I think you want to kind of look at more, hey, what's the best available player? Because guys do fall through the cracks, even now, and particularly high school, because of the portal. And guys are taking older guys and things like that. So, we'll see what happens over the next, few days. But we're really settled in, and the guys are actually here working now. There's a transition period. They're here now. Of course, in Birmingham, the weather, man, like it's like 19 degrees and things are shut down. It's like crazy. It's not like in Cleveland. When I was in Cleveland, I remember I'd send my son Corbin out to the bus stop, and it'd be a blizzard, like you couldn't even see. And I'm like, okay, are they really going to school in this? And they were stop. You were not canceling anything in Cleveland because of snow. You just put the chains on them. They put the chains on the buses, and you were rolling from that regard. So anyway, guys are here, and we're pretty much done. The thing about our class is Phil said it earlier, is in the back end, like when you look at it, like of the 12 guys that we signed, 50% of them actually have 4 years left. Yeah. So, that ends up being a good thing, because you don't want to get in a situation where you got all guys that got 1 to 2 years left, because then what's going to happen is in a year or two, you're going to be depleted again. So we tried to balance that out to give us a little bit of balance in years available, to us. But I think the biggest thing is when you start looking at guys in the portal, it's all about recruiting like athletes, and you kind of figure it out. Back when I was first started, like with Phil, kids grow, and you never know what they're going to be. Like you could take a kid that's 6'3", and a half, 6'4", 220 pounds, And then in a month or a semester, the kid's 250 pounds because now he's eating 3 meals a day and all that kind of stuff. So you never know how kids are going to pan out. Now, because the portal, guys aren't really like that because they're a little bit older, right? But you can still get a little bit of a younger guy that can develop. But getting back, really the point is take athletes and guys that got position flexibility, meaning, like, for example, we took this kid named Chris Spencer from ODU, which ODU had a really good team. I mean, I watched their team, and they had a lot of good players on that team. They had a couple inside backers. They had a defensive end that we took that I mean, I actually watched the Virginia Tech game, and like he got after those guys pretty good. I mean, he was slinging guys and pretty impressive. And he really has position flex, meaning he could play defensive end for us because of his range and athletic ability. But if you watch his size, he's right at 285. He can play inside too. So he gives us position flexibility. So you kind of want to recruit guys, like that. And then we kind of did that with another guy named Tylen Jackson from Eastern Washington from that standpoint. And then you always look for edge rushers. We ended up signing a kid named Blanche Gold who had 8 sacks from Morgan State. This guy does remind me a little bit of Hank Coleman, who Phil was talking about a minute ago, meaning he's got a big lower body. He's explosive. He can come off the edge. So I think he can play multiple positions for us. And then there was a guy that would actually start at the University of Georgia. He's from Elberton, Georgia, named Marlon Dean. And Marlo is a really good. He was at Georgia State this past year, and the reason he ended up there is, the head coach at Georgia State at one time was at Georgia, so he knew about the kid, and he's a really good outside backer. I mean, I was able to watch how he rushed the passer and played against Ole Miss and Vandy, and he's got some tools that I look forward to, working with from that perspective, and. We'll see. And then obviously, Phil's guy was Moo Byard from Middle Tennessee. He's the guy that played well against me. His brother actually plays for the Chicago Bears right now. And I'll be honest with you, the thing that impressed me about him was at dinner, just his knowledge of football. And I think that's the one spot, the middle of the defense, your linebackers and your safeties, they got to be able to communicate because corners, kind of get on that island and they got to know what the coverage is and that kind of thing. And somebody's sometimes got to tell them what to do. But anyway, we had Moo coming in. He's impressive. Then we got the kid Sean Myers from Colorado. Really like him. And then Ike from Oklahoma State. I was with him. Ike will be the most athletic linebacker in the conference. He's just got to get reps. He hasn't played a lot. He didn't play at all until last year at linebacker. And then we kind of rounded it off with a couple guys. Braden Sullivan was a kid that's played 1,200 snaps the last 2 years. And I thought it was important to get some consistency there. What's funny about him is when he came in to his visit, he's from Florida, right? And back when I was the coordinator at the University of Florida, we had camps in the summer. And I had coached him in the camp. And he had a picture of me coaching him. And that was pretty cool. And be able to share that moment. But anyway, we actually beat Central Florida on him. And what was interesting is he saw a better opportunity to come here and start and be a part of a rotation than, say, going to Central Florida. And he ended up coming. And then kind of rounding off, we took a high school guy, Malachi Character, who was a running back, kind of like Phil talked about, that we're going to develop there. But then the most interesting guy for us at that position was a guy named Colby Archie, which is probably the most explosive player that I watched. And he actually tripped to Mississippi State because of his ability to rush the edge. And but he's 5'11", 3/4, right? So what happens is always look at what's your value, meaning are you a 2-down player, meaning, hey, that means I can play first and second down, but on third down, I really got no value, right? Are you a third down player, which means all I can do is rush the passer or cover? And then obviously what's your special teams value? So you always look at guys and always try to rank guys. Right? Are they 2-down players, 3-down players? Are they a DPR, meaning a designated pass rusher? Well, when Colby came in, I was like, look, you're a 2-down player, but that means you're a third down, fourth down player. Meaning I know you can rush the edge because of your speed and all that, but your ability to set the edge with your length is not going to be there on first, second down at this level or in the National Football League. And I know that's, your ultimate goal. So right now I know you can play third down and you can play special teams because he's really explosive. And I was like, we got to create value for you on first and second down. And I said, I want to try to teach you to learn how to play Mike linebacker, stack backer off the ball. And the reason for that is you do have packages, and this is an NFL thing where we call it Cub, where you get in the 5-1 look, double edge. I think Randy Flamson called it Monster 52 back in the day.
Yeah.
Something like that. But anyway, you can create the double edge, but because of his juice and his speed, it becomes a problem because most of Mike linebackers don't have that per se, right? So I was just like, look, man, you have the tools, but we got to create value for you on first and second down, and this is our plan. And to be honest with you, we were able to beat Utah State on him, and I think it was two reasons. One, the plan, and the other one is he was from Mississippi, so his mom only had to drive 3 hours to come see him. And that's the other thing that happens with these kids that get in the portal.
Sure,
is their ability to be closer to home sometimes like kicks in, because when you go somewhere, like you and your family live that. So for example, when I was at Georgia, we had Jarvis Jones, and I was coming from the Dallas Cowboys to Georgia. Well, Jarvis was at Southern Cal from Georgia. And I'm like, how do you end up in Southern Cal all the way from Georgia? And then he was like, well, coach, they didn't really recruit me, number one. And I like, well, why did you come back? And he said, the biggest thing is like you have your 1 o'clock game, right? And you play at 1 o'clock. Well, all the kids that were local, their families came to the game, and they'd go out to dinner that night or whatever. He goes, my mom, she couldn't, the cost to fly from Georgia to California is pretty expensive, right? So she couldn't come to every game. She might come to one. So I just didn't get to see my family. And, I would basically get my to-go plate and go back to my dorm room and just hang out the rest of the night, and it kind of gets kind of depressing and things like that. So yeah. I do think that as guys get older, their ability to be closer to their family where they can come watch them play does become like an important part of it that can be on your side, based on where you live.
Well, it's all adding up pretty good, my friend. You guys did a great job. People are excited. I see all the posts about UAB football, and you're in by far the best non-power league in the country, and you're right up there in the top 3 or 4 in the recruiting class, man. That's no small feat, especially since you haven't been there but about 3 weeks now. That's incredible.
Yeah. I'm fired up, man. I finally was able to get out of the Hilton yesterday and get a real house, and I'll be here for a month hanging out, and that was a good time. So it was always good to get out of the Hilton. But I was, basically we did this. We ended up signing 27 guys in basically 14 days, and there were some guys that really helped. That their recruiting department was really small, but the guys there worked their tail off, and they were very organized, and they had things ready to roll. And obviously, with our lack of resources from it's all about eyes, getting eyes on players, you know what I'm saying? And Phil did a great job for me in helping me kind of watch guys, rank guys, and that kind of thing. Cause you got to take somebody. You can't say, back in the draft, it was like, you couldn't say the guy can't play. You had to rank him because you have to take somebody, you know what I'm saying? And everything. So I felt like we were able to rank guys and get some pretty good fits. And really the biggest thing now is like when you first take over a program, like when I took over Georgia and Florida, there was a sense of entitlement in those programs. They weren't winning, and there was a sense of entitlement from the players, so you had to change the culture. The advantage to bringing in so many guys like that is that entitlement isn't really there because they just got here. And I did try to make a point to try to get motivated guys, hungry guys, guys that like football, those kind of things, and to create competition. Because the only way you get better in this world is competition. That's in anything you do. The more competition you got, the better you are. And now it's really about bonding and bringing the guys together, trust from coach to player, player to player, and then player to coach. And really trying to develop that trust so that, that you can trust the guy next to you to do his job. So I'm going to make sure I do my job, but I'm going to do it at a violent pace. And have that energy and effort, which you got to have to be successful. So that's kind of what we're going through now with our off-season program. The coaches, we still got a week on the road, so the players will basically just be lifting and running and that kind of thing. And then we'll start what we kind of call football school next week, where we'll actually teach them offense first, meaning, to play defense, you got to learn offense, meaning you got to learn formations and personnel groupings and, what stacks mean, what bunches mean, all that kind of stuff. So we'll start teaching them that stuff next week, and then start, laying the foundation for what we're going to do next fall after that.
Well, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a fun process to kind of get the behind the scenes on how things go for the Blazers in 2026. And appreciate you stopping by, man.
No problem. You guys take care. Okay.
All right, man. There you go.
Yeah.
Coach Grantham. Great stuff, man. It's great stuff. So excited for him. I know how hard he's worked, and he'll do a great job. Great job. Apologize for my voice. Got to send Jen her invite here. Yeah, I had to clean some house earlier when Elmo was on because it was, a lot going on. A lot going on with the throat. But again, this isn't necessarily because I've regressed physically. It just, last night I decided to go out and do the shoveling, because if I didn't do the shoveling last night, it's 15 degrees here today. 15. Thanks to Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio. Appreciate them. Thanks to Jason Green. Give them a call. Free quotes. They're the best. Member FDIC, exclusive banking partner of the program. Thanks to Larry Ramsey. Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams up in Dublin. Thanks, Trav, so much. Sponsor of our text line. And Pulaski County. IHRA partners now. We'll talk much more about those folks here coming up. Hopefully this week we'll get them on. That's right. Reality. We try to hide nothing here on the program. Oh, wait a minute. What did Jen just say? Is she? Yeah, this is. Yeah. She said, "Go as long as you want with Todd. He's awesome." Yeah, we'll talk to her about that. Yeah, he is awesome. You just learn so much, man. It's just a great perspective. Roads are very bad. I was looking at some of the reports. I'm telling you, RV people are amazing, absolutely amazing. But with these temps and with the wind coming here in a few hours, it's going to be, I can't imagine anything moving on Tuesday. Like, it'll be Wednesday before anything's probably going here or wherever you are, if you're close by. Someone tell me again why we have winter. Other than I know we have to rotate, and I get it. So let me know. What's up, Glenn? Yeah, Stafford played well, but Darnold played a little bit better. Great quarterback play in that second game yesterday. Great quarterback play. Not so much with the first game. But we're having Jen on today because I couldn't do the show Friday, and I won't be able to do the show this Friday because of travel. I might do some live check-ins and record some stuff, but won't be able to do the full program just with the way it's going to go travel-wise down in the Palmetto State. This is our big road conference trip coming up. Both of the local basketball teams took it on the chin, to say the least. I do. I think the Seahawks will be they are favored. I think the Seahawks will win it. The most complete team I think I've seen this year, Seattle. I hate their insistence on those uniforms. I wish they'd go back to the throwbacks from the 70s, but yeah. Yeah, Darnold not good enough for anybody, Wayne. Jets, Panthers, Vikings, you name it. And now he's what? easily top 5 quarterback. He just looks like everything's going for him. Great offensive line. How quickly they turn things around there. Guy is just locked in, man. Some of those deep balls yesterday. Whew. Just locked in. But the Patriots are really good defensively, and you'll be in a much better weather environment. The Drake May can play a little more freely as well. So I don't count out the Patriots in that game. Mike Vrabel has seen it all. He's good. He's good at what he does. So we'll see how it plays out. She's always good at what she does. Can you hear me?
I can now. I had a little malfunction, but I'm okay now. Sorry.
Well, thank you for jumping on today. I figured, I couldn't do Friday's show. And then travel's going to be so hectic this coming week with the hoops. I'm not going to do Friday's show this week. And I was like, we can't go 2 weeks without Jen. So there you
probably could, but thank you.
No, people don't like that. People don't like that. So where were you this weekend? Were you around this weekend?
Yes, it was projected to be kind of bad here, but it really never got that bad.
What did you guys get down there?
Light icing, I would say.
You got light icing.
Mm-hmm.
Must be nice. We got pretty heavy snow. Well,
like how much?
I won't say that. We got probably 3.5 inches of snow, but then we got sleet on top of us. We got that nice crust going on.
I don't miss that. I don't. It's hard here just because even the threat of it coming, because we just don't have the equipment and the ability to deal with it, means even the threat means we're going to shut down. So we just can't handle it. And we were going to have auditions Saturday, and just knowing that it could happen, we had to cancel auditions. And really, Saturday was pretty good here. Yesterday, there were a few icy spots. They still had the women's game against Vanderbilt, which we won. So, it wasn't that bad if people can get to it.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You don't sound good. Poor thing.
No, no, it's not that bad. It's I had to make the executive to go shovel last night because the weather here is really deteriorated today. Like wind chills are going to be bad. The wind's still going to pick up. And we got that sleet on top of snow. So you have to just make it, okay, what's going to be easier? What's going to be harder? So I spent a few hours last night out in that colder air, and it's kind of
just pay somebody.
There's nobody going to do that. There's nobody to do that.
Just pay some kid to come do it.
There's no kid here. There's nobody around this neighborhood.
They don't have any kids out there? People are making more people?
Well, the kids that are here are very young, like elementary.
Oh, okay. That's not going to work.
We don't have any
reputation for that.
We don't have any strong teenage. Yeah, we don't have any of that in this neighborhood. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I were there, I would have helped for a little bit. I don't know if I would have volunteered to do it all. But
even with your shoulder, right? Even with your shoulder,
my shoulder's good now. Now it's strong. It's good to go.
By the way, congrats! I saw you with your picture of your fantasy championship trophy.
Well, that was from last year.
I'm sorry.
I posted it because I'm having to send it away soon to the next winner. And I'm enjoying my time with it until I have to send it away. I won the power rankings, but it just was one of those quirky things where I was winning just week after week after week, just dominating. I had Puka, I had Rico Dowdle, I had like all these just bombs, just killing it. And I was feeling so good. And then just 1 week, couldn't do it. And a guy had the highest score out of everybody, beat me that week, and I was out of the championship. And then I had the second highest score of everybody. But you know how it goes sometimes.
No, I get it.
So I still won decent amount of money in it, which was nice. So for winning the power rankings, and you get
Okay.
a little
Okay.
cash out each week that you win as the high scorer of the entire league. So there's 16 teams in there. So that's a big deal. And I was a high scorer consistently over and over and over. But I'm going to try to move on with my life. But as you can tell, I'm not quite there.
No, I get it. I get it. Hey, where are you? Chat's asking, where are you with the mouthpiece? We like to get an update.
Well, I thanks to Paul, I was able to connect with my mentor, and I sent him a text. He hasn't responded yet, but he's 83 years old. So I think he's going to be the key because he's the one that got me started on that mouthpiece years and years ago. So I think he's probably got extras, and he will hook me up. So as soon as I connect with him, I think the drama is going to be concluded.
Well, good. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So why didn't you think of yourself to go to your your main teacher, or did you not know how to get a hold of him?
That's correct. I didn't have as much current info. Like when a person is 83, they're not always the most reliable with their online presence with the contact info. And I thought I had his current number, and I didn't. And I couldn't find any way to get in touch with him. So it took Paul interacting with the Duquesne faculty staff, because that's where my mentor retired from, was from Duquesne music program. It took him getting involved to get the contact info.
So where, by the way, now that we're done, I guess basically done with portal classes, where did South Carolina show up in the SEC with Shane? I don't know the answer.
I actually don't know the ranking with SEC. I know it was top 25 overall.
Was it? Okay.
I don't know about the breakdown of the SEC. My guess is it was probably middle of the SEC.
Yeah, well.
We did well. We did better than I expected considering the circumstances. And we're very excited because we've got 2 starters on the Seahawks. So I'm going for the Seahawks. I don't know where your mind is on it, but
nah, I don't care. My team lost yesterday, so I don't care.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I thought about you. I meant to say something to you about that.
No, but you didn't. You didn't.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is hard though, but at least you had something to cheer for. You got to see them go that far.
I just wish could have given an honest account of ourselves. When you don't have your quarterback at that point, you're hurting. So
yeah,
makes a big difference.
And I think I thought he's going to be like unable to play for 12 weeks or something with that injury.
Yeah, I mean he'll be fine. He'll be fine for camp. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry though. Hard, okay. Still difficult. Okay.
Only my team can have a dramatic win and then go to the championship. Oh, by the way, you've lost your quarterback for the rest of the postseason. Oh, okay. That's great. That's great.
And it didn't look like that initially. Like when he was kind of
it wasn't
like walking weird off the field. And I thought, oh, maybe you just sprained it a little bit. But yeah, definitely not a sprain.
TLB says Jen herself may be approaching 80 by the time we hear her solo. Whoa.
Maybe so. It'll make you more excited, more grateful to hear it when it happens.
All right. So you're always very honest. So let me ask you,
Uh-oh.
given the last few years of postseason record and not being part of the championship the last 3 years, are you ready to admit that your beloved Southeastern Conference may just be a tad inflated in terms of its reputation?
Am I ready to admit that?
Taking your finest college football analytic eye.
This is difficult because this is my identity.
How much of it's created by hype from ESPN and the relationship? I know, but I'm not just talking about South Carolina. I'm just talking about overall. What reason do we have to believe any further that the SEC? Now, I know you're going to send more guys to the NFL. I get that, but
and that's a big deal, is it not?
It is, but winning games is more important.
You're saying it like no big thing, but that is a big thing.
It is, but winning games is supposed to be more important.
is it in today's climate? I guess, I don't know. Like, these are questions I'm asking myself. Like, what is important right now? It's hard. It's just so rapidly shifting. I think one thing that my boyfriend Kurt Signetti did so well is he realized like everything was resetting, and he capitalized on that. Like, for a long time, it was pretty stuck, right? Like the system was kind of stuck in the way it was operating, and now everything's changed. He was the first one to be smart enough to say, okay, if we're ever going to make a move now, let's go for it. So I think a lot of it is still in flux, and I don't know if anyone has good predictions. No one predicted that I know predicted Indiana to win everything.
No, I don't think anybody did.
Yeah. The smartest sportscaster in the nation, who would that be? Phil Steele? We should go look in what he predicted for Indiana.
Well, he's the smartest. I don't know, he's not a sportscaster. He's the smartest, I guess, college football analyst that I know.
Okay.
He had Clemson winning it all.
I like the way you said that. But yeah, I mean, like, what did he predict for Indiana? Do you have your guide with you?
I do not.
Okay. We should look it up because that would be insightful.
That's true. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that.
My point is, I just don't think anybody knows what's going on and what's going to happen. And, you know, like if 0 people who are in the know predicted Indiana to win, then that kind of shows you like nobody really knows what's happening right now.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's really in the know anymore. I think it's just in the guess or in the contract that we have, in the best interest of who we work for. I mean, that's where we've kind of gone with all this stuff, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm super biased for the SEC and South Carolina because that's my vantage point. But probably if I were getting paid big money from like the ACC, I might be changing my tune a little bit. I feel like people are so highly influenced by the money. That's what's running it all. Could it be argued it was always running it all? Probably so, but it was more in the background and more concealed.
Correct. Well, concealed because everybody was doing it, so nobody turned anybody in. Every coach was doing it. So nobody cared because they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I spent so much for this guy. Blue chips. It always comes down to the movie Blue Chips. That's exactly how things were going. That's specifically for college basketball, but that's how things have always been. Always been. You name it. Hey, you know what? You ready for this? Now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Jen's going to get mad. Steve Spurrier cheated his rear end off. Lou Holtz cheated his rear end off. But if everybody's doing it, is it really cheating?
It's the protocol. It's what's called for to be competitive.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Wayne says that Phil Steele has we're going to have to yell at Phil. He had Indiana 6th in the Big Ten. Said they'd be improved. How can you be improved and be 6th when you're in the playoff? But anyway, Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, and Illinois ahead of Indiana. Wow.
So I guess it's just good evidence there of who knows what's going to happen.
You don't know. Correct.
It was a complete reset, as close as we could get to a complete reset for football, for that scenario to play out the way it did.
Wow, 6th. That surprises me for Phil to be that off with Indiana. I mean, they were in the playoff last year. They had Mendoza coming back, and he had him 6th. Wow. Well, now that the SEC is the second best conference behind the Big Ten.
That hurts, but I respect where that's coming from. So,
right? I mean,
it doesn't make me mad. I mean, I understand where it's coming from. Yeah.
How many wins? I think I asked you this. How many wins does Shane need to have this year? I mean, it's a serious question. Not necessarily for you, but for AD.
Him to hang
It seems
around.
like, yeah. What do you think? Would 7-5 be enough?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's like the minimal success, right? You're over 500, playing in some terrible bowl, 7-5.
Well, I don't know. I think one thing that is a little bit of a curveball right now is because a school like Indiana did what it did, is it going to make everybody now even more amped up for change when things underperform? So ordinarily I would have said 7-5, but now I don't know because but if everyone is firing their coach every 2 or 3 years and we all can't expect the SEC to win the SEC. Like that is not a reasonable conclusion. So I just don't know how it's all going to end up with people being satisfied when the reality is only a few teams can rise above it.
So we know what's going on. We're all frustrated with all the stuff with the portal and the money. How do you see your own fanship? You're one of the biggest college football fans, sincere love of the game and college football that I know. Has it waned on you at all? Do you sit there and kind of wonder how much longer you can be? Now you're working at the school, so it's a little different, I know, for you. But have you seen your dedication and loyalty, not to South Carolina, but just to, college football? Does it mean as much as it used to?
I did feel a little more detached this year, and I don't know if that was just my response to us not doing well, me trying to protect my emotional investment in it. Sure. Some of it may have been that, but I was still as worked up about watching it on TV. So I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. It is difficult. I understand why some people are getting out. I do think one trend I've noticed here, and again, one point I'll argue for the SEC is just, again, the culture. People love to come to the games. The games are the biggest social events in all of South Carolina, and us and Clemson's football games. Those are the biggest events, and everybody plans a lot of their life around it. So, during that, I am seeing more of more people coming into the game who don't know a lot about the teams or the players. They're just kind of there for a good time. And this did make me a little bit sad. And this is not critical. It's just an observation. As I noticed in all the Gamecock football marketing, now a lot of it has switched for the last few years to a campaign, and it's called Catch a Game. And it shows these scenes of people tailgating and people having fun and socializing, and kind of plays up the party aspect of our games. But there's not a picture of a football player in any of it. And that's the primary marketing. So I think you're drawing more of those kinds of people who are like, I don't really know all the players and don't really care. I'm just here to have some fun and see the lights, and that I don't really, that hurts my heart a little bit. Don't totally love it, but
no, I get that. And I think I've addressed that here. And I've asked the question for people, because I know we have a lot of dedicated fans, especially Tech fans. How much more? When's enough going to be enough, or too much? Because there's not going to be any rules anytime soon.
Yeah,
I don't see anything changing. Or do you see anything changing? I don't. Not for a while.
No, and again, to go back to your point about, well, what makes the SEC different or better, if there is anything. I mean, the game climate is something that it is still very marketable and popular, even if it's the kind of people that you and I don't necessarily want to see as much of. So I think as long as it's profitable and that strategy works, then it's going to continue. I mean, if you got a chance to see an Indiana game versus a Alabama game, Alabama, Georgia, I think that's a pretty right. Am I fair to assume that you would rather go to the Alabama, Georgia game?
Yeah, no, you are. I mean, I don't know why that would be, but yeah.
So, I think that's part of it is I think we're more desirable in that way for sure. And probably will always be unless something really dramatic happens culturally to make things more comparable. Now winning helps a lot, but even there's that picture floating around. You've probably seen it with the Indiana celebration that they had of winning everything, and it was poorly attended. But if someone posted it was very cold outside, and but I think it just the culture is different. It's just not the same, and I think that's going to be the edge the SEC has, regardless of whether they're still winning.
It's usually warmer weather.
Yeah,
in the Southeast too. That has a lot to do with it. The weather and the
attractive young women. I mean, you don't mind the attractive SEC women, the good food, all the whole setting.
They always do a good job of showing the tailgating. Yeah.
But it just hurt me to see that campaign, and I don't know. It just was a reality check for me. It was all about, and again, the phrase was "catch a game," and it's all the fun stuff, and like no. It's not like come see this winning team, which obviously we weren't this year, but it's not about football. It's about the rest of the culture.
Yeah, I get it. And that's going to just be up to every individual, right? There's no wrong answer. It's your choice. And I find myself checking out more and more. It is what it is.
Yeah. I was more detached. And I just saw more people at the games who didn't know really what was happening and weren't totally tuned in, and that irritates me. So I don't know, I might have to be kind of now going to isolate myself and watch on TV, just because that takes away from my experience.
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
Like when you see people who are trying to be all loud and we're on offense, I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Like, don't do that. Shush. So that kind of stuff is going to get under my skin a little bit.
No, I get it. Now I do that now. I'm alone. I put my phone away. I usually mute the TV. Like I had my game muted. I can't stand Tony Romo. He's regressed so badly. It's unlistenable. And I was just watching the game, and I was thinking, this is the way it has to be. This is the way I need it to be. I don't want any calls. I don't want any texts. Oh, there was one other Broncos lifer that I've always, when I do communicate during the game, we kind of have the same mentality. And why don't you kick the field goal to go up 10-0? But anyway,
Well, it becomes more. It may be that it was a reflection of how the games were going, but I get more stoic with it, and I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. I'm about to take another L right now.
No, sure,
so,
sure.
I just go to a certain place with it. But if I'm around a bunch of other people, it just makes me grouchy if they're all like chit chatting and talking. I don't like the vocal fry voice. Like if chicks are near me and they're like, and so like I was going out, he was going, and he came over, and I was like, no, and he was like, and on this thing, and I'm like, no, there's a huge situation.
And you're like, there's a game on. I'm watching the game. I don't want to hear. Okay, I got you.
I cannot handle all that going on, and it's just very disruptive to my juju when I'm trying to. I feel like I can will the team to better things somehow. I don't know why I believe that, but I do, and it interrupts my flow. I just can't do it.
Yeah, and the worst of that is when you realize the game is turning against your team. Like you can just sense it, either a couple big series, or you can just see the body language, and it's going to go badly and you're going to lose. And people don't seem to grasp that. They don't understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when we were up against A&M at halftime, and people were posting all those boastful messages like, hey, A&M, hi. And
I know.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We know how this is going to turn out. Don't.
Yeah, just wait till it's over.
Ugh. So I don't know. Like, I feel like more of that, like the etiquette, the unspoken etiquette of people who really care about football. I think more of that is being minimized, and we're going to lose that battle. Am I getting raspy now too? I hope not. Are you?
Telling you. It might be coming through the mic.
I don't know. You're pretty sick. So.
Well, I think this is for me getting out there last night in the cold. But anyway.
I don't think that was smart.
Huh?
I don't think that was smart. You could have just posted on the Big Dog page on Facebook and be like, hey, someone send your teenage kids over here to deal with this, and I'll Venmo you $100 or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have any. That's the thing about it.
I mean, you got teenage kids
in our neighborhood. There are not around here. No, everybody's like the kids that are here are very young.
Now. Reiner is not the Reiner it used to be when I grew up there. Reiner is all the money peeps now.
No.
You could find.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, there are a lot of money peeps out there.
I missed that memo.
You're one of them now.
Oh, yes. That's why I'm out there last night for 3 hours at dark shoveling my own driveway.
I'm serious. Next time, get on Facebook on your Big Dog account and just post, hello, I need help. I need someone to come over here and shovel, and you'll get somebody.
Help me.
Oh, they'll bring a snowblower or something.
Well, thank you for jumping on. Appreciate that. I'm glad you kept your stuff. You didn't know whether you would have internet, did you? You were kind of.
No, like I said, we're just not made for weather events like that here. We're made for hot weather. So if the slightest stuff happens here, everything just collapses. The infrastructure goes down. Like today, we don't have class until 11, and everything's pretty fine. The temperature's coming back up and everything's melted.
Not here. We're going to have wind chills tomorrow morning, -9. It says.
When are you leaving for your? Aren't you on the road this week? Are you staying with me?
Yeah, that's what I have to do. I got to figure all that out Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, because Friday I'm not going to be able to do a show. There's just too much that goes into it, trying to travel and do all that. So yeah, I need to connect with you.
Yeah, I got to get ready for your appearance. I'm going to be working a whole lot, so I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to spend with you. But you have a place to crash. You can play with Jazz the cat.
Which I will do, by the way.
And you'll enjoy being immersed in the Gamecock goodness here in the condo.
Maybe I'll help. Maybe me being down there will help. Maybe it'll help. You can give me credit for the season if you have a good bounce back year.
We need the men to try. I don't know. The women had a good night day. It was during the day yesterday, 3:00.
Yeah, your men's program's not going to change until you get rid of you got to get a new coach.
We keep trying the new coach thing. And the first year of Lamont, when I was year 2, we went to NCAA because we lost. But he had a nice kind of start in there.
He did, but it's kind of leveled off since.
We need a big guy who can push some people around. We have a big guy, and he kind of has T-Rex arms. He sort of just swats at people, and I'm like, "Do you use your body, baby? Get in there!" And I just want.
He does. Yeah.
I don't know why he does that. It's like I feel like I could run the clinic as a former power forward from the New River Valley for him. I'm sure that would be a very desirable coach for him.
No,
but I think I could do better than what he's doing now.
You should.
AAU.
All right. I will reach out to you later in the week, and thank you for jumping on today.
I want you to feel better. Are you? I have some recommendations on your meds. I'm going to send you if you can get out to get anything.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know.
Okay.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
I will. Talk to you later.
Okay.
It's Jen the Gamecock Girl. Great stuff. Oh, hi, Jen. That's Jen the Gamecock Girl. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for putting up with my hacking. Sorry about that. Thanks to the Ready Set Fund, ReadySetFund.com, Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line, National Bank, member FDIC, Ryan Pry, the attorney, the BDST fan question of the week. We want your Super Bowl food fare. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street. Thanks to Charles Lee. Give them a call, 540-553-2971. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Mark Hundley, everybody at McClellan Chiropractic, and Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio here, 540-200-8294, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, and the NRB Super Bowl, and Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuesday edition. Take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you.